Hi everyone, I'm Kat and welcome to my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. When you guys are seeing this, I will be back from Spain. Right now I'm pre-recording it before I leave because I'm guessing that when I get back I'm probably going to have a lot of jet lag and just a lot of things to catch up on. So I wanted to get ahead, that way I could get a video out as soon as I can when I get back. So I'm doing a video that has been very requested by you guys, and that is showing you how I bake with the RMS Un Powder. And right now I have a full face of makeup, except I don't have any concealer on under my eyes. This is what my under eye area looks like normally. I do have some dark circles here. Today is a Saturday, so I did get quite a bit of sleep last night. So they look better than usual, but because I have such fair skin, it's pretty translucent. So if I get any kind of discoloration, bruising or anything like that, or in this case dark circles, it really shows up. So I'm just gonna walk you through what I do to do this. And the first thing I always do is go in with the Boon Salmon concealer. I used to conceal under my eyes without using a color corrector, but I find that it just makes it a little easier and just gives me a little bit more coverage and really helps to counteract these dark circles. So what I do is I take the salmon concealer and I just apply the tiniest little amount on both sides, kind of like right where the circles are the darkest. And then this product is super creamy, so I just use my finger and just kind of blend it out like this. Right now, as you can see, of course, my under eyes do look kind of salmony. So you're not ever supposed to use a color corrector by itself. You're always supposed to go over on top of it with a concealer or a foundation. And what the salmon color does is it really just helps to balance out that purple. And I go in with the tiniest amount of this concealer because I do have such fair skin. I've accidentally made the mistake of putting too much on. And even with a concealer on top of it, if I get too much, it can still look kind of salmony underneath. So I think if you do have a darker skin tone, you can go in with more of a color corrector. Like, you can apply more under your eyes. But if you are fair, just be careful and use the smallest amount possible. My two under eye concealers I normally use are either the RMS Un Cover-Up or the Hynt Beauty Duet concealer. And I'd originally said in my concealer comparison that I do not like this under my eyes. And I don't unless I bake it with the Un Powder. If I just go in with this by itself, it will crease on me very badly. This one I can wear with just setting with the Un Powder, but when I bake it, it really does lock it in. Why I always am raving about the RMS Un Powder is because it makes concealers that normally crease on me actually work and be wearable throughout the day. So that's why I'm so in love with baking with it. Today I'm going to go in with the Hynt Beauty Duet Concealer because I did show you in a previous video about when I was reviewing the Un Powder in the Uncover Up, me applying that. So I will apply the Duet Concealer under my eyes to show you that. And I'm in the shade Light. I tried Light and Fair was a little bit too pinky for me. I just didn't like the tone of it. This is a little dark, especially when I'm wearing the Alpine Rose foundation. I probably should actually be mixing those two, Light and Fair, but I didn't really want to spend the money to actually buy both, so maybe sometime in the future I'll do that. What I like to do is I like to pick it up on a little brush, and I just actually use this little eyeshadow brush that came in a Honeybee Gardens eyeshadow palette. And I just pick some of the product up and I just kind of lightly dab it on under my eyes. And once again, the trick too to having really nice concealer under your eyes and having it wear well throughout the day is to not get too much on. Like, you don't want to put too much product on under your eyes, because then that's how it can get really creepy. That's how it can really start to crease on you. I find that using the smallest amount possible to get the coverage you want is really the best guarantee of having it wear well throughout the day as well. And you can always go back and apply a little bit more if you need more coverage at a spot, but you know, if you put too much on in the beginning, you can't really take it off. So that's why I always recommend going in with the smallest amount possible. Once I get it blended out with my finger, I will also then grab a beauty blender in this, or a beauty sponge. In this case, I have been using the EcoTools sponge. I do have to apologize for the staining. This sponge stains really easily. I don't know why. I didn't have as much of a staining problem with the Real Techniques sponge or with the actual Beauty Blender itself. This one just really does not want to let go of foundation or concealer once I get it on it. But I really like this sponge because it has this flat edge here, which is really great for blending out under the eye and especially perfect for baking. So I definitely recommend getting some sort of sponge that has a flattened edge. It makes your life so much easier when doing this. So I'm just gonna blend this out a little bit with the sponge, just to, yeah, just like this. And you wanna just pounce. You don't wanna swipe back and forth. You just wanna pounce. And that way you are kind of blending the product out, but not just sliding it back and forth and taking it off. I forgot to mention that this is in fact a damp sponge, so yeah, you also want to make sure you're using these things damp. And this is where things get kind of interesting. So the RMS Un Powder does not have a locking sifter, it just has like little holes in it. And so what I will do is I will knock some of the powder out into the cap and then pick it up with this flat edge of the sponge. The sponge, yes, it is damp. You want to go in with a damp sponge, that's how it works. I also have tried a number of different setting powders. I've tried Terry Miyahiro, released one in a recent Terry Miyahiro box. I've tried the Root Setting Silk, and I don't like either one of those. And I think part of the reason that this is such an awesome setting powder is, first of all, it's silica and mica. And those are not the ingredients of the other two setting powders. And also this is ridiculously finely milled. So I think the fact that the ingredients are different as well as how finely milled it is really lends itself to baking well. When I bake with the Root, it just does not bake the same way, and when I bake with the Terry Miyahiro, it just doesn't either. So I'm gonna pick up some of the Un Powder on the edge of the sponge here, like this. I've got some on the cap and I'm just picking it up here, and you can see the sponge now looks kind of whitish. And I'm just gonna dab this on the area where I put concealer under my eyes. So just like this. And I will do the same with the other eye now. And this part, it takes a while to get the hang of because you want to make sure you're getting enough under your eye, but not too much. And you're starting to see what is happening with my right eye here. So you're starting to see that it is turning white where I put the powder, and that is because I am putting the powder on wet and then it is drying and like setting. And so here's a trick. You know that you've not put enough on if it doesn't, like it gets dry feeling kind of under your eye. It feels kind of tight. It reminds me of when I use a face cleanser or a face wash that is drying and your skin feels kind of tight and dry afterwards. That is what is happening here, because the product, you did apply it with a damp sponge and it is drying. I'm gonna actually apply a little bit more to my left eye. I feel like I need a smidge more. And you can do this too. If you feel like you didn't get enough, you can go back and apply a little bit more. But once again, the thing you should be aware of is if you get too much on, it can get a little bit hard to dust away. I did my eye makeup today prior to baking, but a lot of times what I will actually do is bake under my eyes and then apply my eye makeup. And one of the things that's really nice about doing that is it helps if you get any fallout under your eyes, because you're gonna dust off all this baked Un Powder anyway. And so that's a good way to also dust off any fallout. And so this is what is unique about this powder. I can't get the Terry Miyahiro powder to do this or the Root. So when I apply them wet, they just kind of, I don't know, they get like absorbed into my skin and it never dries and gets tight and turns white like this. Like I said, I think it has to do with the milling and I think it has to do with the ingredients. So you can see this turns white like this. And you want to let it kind of set for a little while because this is really just locking in your concealer in place. And also if you touch under your eye where you put it, it feels so smooth. Like I've never felt anything feel as smooth as this once you've baked it on. So when you go to dust it off, I don't have a good brush to dust it off with. I have this one, this Terry Miyahira number 4 powder brush, which is like ridiculous and way too large, but I'm in the market for getting a little smaller brush to dust the powder from under my eyes, but as of right now I do not have one, so this is what I use. And so I kind of look up. Sometimes I close my eyes because I have knocked some of this powder into my eye before, and basically what happens when I do that is it really just dries out my contact lens, which is unpleasant, but it doesn't burn or anything, so that's nice. Okay. And sometimes if I have a spot that's like particularly stuck and I can't quite get it with a brush, I'll just like lightly dust it with my finger. Sometimes your fingers are just the best tools that you have. And yeah, there you go. And also I have fair skin, so sometimes this can, if you don't get all the powder off, it can white cast you. So what I also recommend is going in, for instance, with your face powder. So I use the Alima Pure Satin Matte Foundation in Cool 2, and so if it's looking particularly white under there, I will pick up some of my powder foundation and then just like lightly dust that under there and kind of like apply that while I'm dusting off the unpowder to help counteract any white cast that I might have. And also if you want a little bit more coverage too, that is another good way to do that. And so yeah, so now everything is set, and basically this is not going to budge. Like, this is going to stay on all day. This is just, yeah, so it's really a wonderful foolproof way to set concealer. And I find that it works really well too, regardless of the concealer. I can do it with this Hynt Beauty Duet concealer, which I normally can't apply under my eyes because it'll just crease on me. But this really sets it in place and makes it work. So I absolutely love baking. This is my go-to way of applying under eye concealer. So I hope you found this video useful and maybe a little bit entertaining. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Also check out some of my other videos. I think you might like those as well. And check out my Instagram. I'll have my handle down below. I'm at naturallybeautifulgirl. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.